You really do like it?
Oh, haven't you believed me the last 6 times?
Can't believe it's done, really.
Well, it is, and it looks lovely, and you'll look lovely in it.
What about your suit?
Oh, sober brown, very orthodox. Nobody will be able to take any exception to it. We might have a bit of fuss with papers, though. I had 3 reporters round here this morning.
Jack shouldn't have done that, should he?
No, I don't think it was very wise of him, but I dare say he did it for the best.
You should have heard Mum going on. She were all for going to see Mr. Verney herself and telling him what she thought. But Dad thought you were daft, not shoeing horses for him.
Aye, well, I have to do what I think's right, Janie.
All the same.
All the same what, love?
Don't matter.
Oh, I don't want any fuss either. But it's just the sort of thing the papers are likely to play up, you know. Sob story stuff. You all right? Oh, come in.
Hello, Frank. You've seen this, I suppose?
Aye.
Hello, Jenny, love. Have they been on to either of you yet, the reporters?
I haven't seen anyone.
Oh, there were 3 round here before Janie came.
They're poking round the village. Looking for Verney, I suppose, and they've been on to me.
Well, I told them nought.
Neither did I. Do you know who gave them the story in the first place?
I'm pretty sure it was Jack Sugden.
Oh.
Oh, I'm not certain, mind.
The thing is, I'm absolutely convinced in my own mind that Mr. Verney had nothing to do with this business of your lease.
But it's his company.
Yes, I know. But I also know Mr. Verney. He'd never act in such an underhand way. He is, however much the term may be derided nowadays, a gentleman.
You were round here this morning, as a matter of fact. Asked me if I'd told the papers.
Did you tell him you thought it was Sugden?
No, I just told him it wasn't me. He believed me, fortunately.
I imagine he suspects it was Mr. Wilkes.
I hope not. He told me you were going to give whoever it was a damn good thrashing.
It'll cost about 200 per animal to build. Working on our aim of accommodation for 50 sows, that'll be £10,000 capital investment we'll need.
Not much when you say it quick.
I've been to the bank, and they've agreed to advance the money to the company against my guarantee. Of course, we won't need it all at once, but the main thing is that properly set up and developed, it'll come to more than 5,000 square feet super. And for that, we'll need planning permission.
Will you get it?
Don't see why not. Put it in the hands of the architect. He'll take care of it. Meantime, I think Matt and Joe ought to read a few more books about pigs. Give them these, will you?
That's a fine way to learn farming. Books.
Hush, Dad.
Times change, Sam. It's no good shutting your eyes to it whether you like it or not.
I'm too close to shutting mine for keeps to worry about liking or not.
Dad, don't talk like that.
Well, it's true, isn't it? Oh, I'm not complaining. Tell you the truth, I'm glad my time's past. There's no real fun nowadays. World's going downhill too fast. I'm going to have half an hour with paper.
Have you heard anything from Jack?
No like to either. It takes a while to simmer down once his back's up.
Did you expect him to react like that?
He left home for 8 years, rather than keep hens for his dad the way you want him to keep pigs.
The animals don't suffer.
You don't have to justify anything to me, Henry. When it comes to choosing between animals and family, I choose family. You had any lunch?
Well, no, as a matter of fact, I was going to the pub.
Sit you down.
I was a bit late.
We'll have to find someone to look after you.
Nay. I've had the vicar's wife on to me. Will I take on Mrs. Crosswaite as housekeeper or something? I know she's a relation of yours, Annie, but... Anyway, there's no need for you to trouble.
I want to trouble. Future of farm's in your hands. It's up to me to see you don't lose strength to use them.
Come here. It won't be like this with pigs, will it?
Oh, I don't know much on them.
Won't have to know much. As far as I can see, it'll be just a question of knowing which button to press. Right.
Why, you go along with Jack, do you?
Don't know. If this way of farming's going, I suppose we'll have to go along with it. Well, I never fancied being a push-button operator.
Oh, Ma seems pretty set on it.
Aye. How about you?
How about me what?
Well, how do you fancy Mr. Wilkes' ideas?
I've no doubt his ideas will work. Can't say I fancied them, though, if I were a pig.
Wouldn't know any different.
Aye, there's that.
Aye. You reckon Jack will try and stick an oar in? Well, he's still got a share in farm.
And Ma made it pretty plain to him what it was worth, didn't she?
Oh, it happened she did. But our Jack don't get beat that easy. He'll be sorting something out. You mind.
Jack? Good heavens, you need a doctor.
It's not as bad as it looks.
If it was, you'd be dead.
But less painful. All round the village, is it?
You didn't expect it to pass unnoticed, did you?
I didn't expect anything. Bernie organised it.
Where's the water?
Downstairs.
Well, I won't be a minute.
Alison,
Yes?
above everything, I'd like a cup of tea.
Kettle's already on.
Good girl.
This place is so primitive. Hey, come on. Come on, sit down on the bed. I'll clean your face up and then we'll know if you need a doctor.
I suppose the wool pack's buzzing with it.
You going to make any charge against Verney?
Charge? Good God, no. Why?
I think there are a few things you ought to know. One thing, there's been this article in the paper about Mr. Verney and the man from the forge.
Frank Blake. Oh! Sorry.
That hurt.
It's not your fault. It'd be difficult to touch my face anyway without making me want to scream.
I'll try and be as gentle as I can.
You couldn't be ungentle.
As I was saying,
About Frank Blakey.
there are a lot of reporters in the village.
Of course, there would be. Are they on to this? Poor old Verney.
Oh, Verney, we've no right to hit you like this. It's terrible.
I asked for it. I told the papers about Frank. I think I was wrong. So does Verney. Hence the horsewhip.
You tell the newspapers.
I wanted to force this business out into the open. Mind you, it might still work, even if it is at Verney's expense. Company won't like the publicity.
Jack, Verney did this to you because you told the papers about Blakey.
I have his word for it.
Well, that's not what's going round the village.
No? What's their version?
Surely you can guess.
No, I can't. What is it?
Well, they think he beat you for seducing his wife.
Oh, my God.
Edward,
Oh, no, love, not another reporter.
Amos Braley would like a word with you.
Oh, yes, all right.
Will you come this way?
Ah, Mr. Braley. Hello.
Sorry to bother you, Vicar.
No bother at all. Do sit down.
I'm sure you'd like a cup of tea.
Oh, well,
I'll just get you another cup.
Oh, suppose you've had your share of reporters down at the Woolpack.
2 or 3. You've not heard latest, I take it, about Verney and Sugden.
In what respect?
They had a fight.
A fight? When?
This morning, outside my house. It seems they had a blazing row about Mrs. Verney, and when Jack wouldn't give his word to leave her alone, Mr. Verney went for him with a riding crop.
Did he hurt him?
Well, it's not done him much good, from what I hear.
Yes, I see. How do you know that the quarrel was about Mrs. Verney?
Well, not for me to repeat gossip, but, well, that's story as I heard it.
Here we are.
Thank you, love.
All right. I'll leave you alone then. Give me a call if you want anything.
Yes. Mr. Braley, as landlord of the Woolpack, you're in an ideal position to correct rumours, aren't you?
Well, a lot of chat goes on, of course.
I'm sure. And why not? Public houses are one of the few common meeting places left. I hope that's not too weak.
Oh, no, I take it as it comes.
Mr. Braley, whatever happened between Jack Sugden and Mr. Verney, it had nothing to do with Mrs. Verney.
But there...
Never mind whatever else you may have heard. What I am telling you is correct. And if you hear what you've just told me being repeated in your pub, it would assist everybody. If you told whoever is saying it that it's not true. Would you do that?
What was it about, then?
I'm not at liberty to tell you that, but I've no doubt it will become clear in time. Will you do as I ask?
Well, anything I can do to help, of course. I'm only...
Good. Now, what can I do to help you?
Oh, it's about Alison, Mrs. Gibbons. I'm not criticising her, mind you, but I've reputation of my house to think of, and, well, last night, very late...
She was seen coming out of Jack Sugden's old mill?
She told you?
Well, she told Mrs. Ruskin, yes.
Oh, not for me to pass judgment, of course, but in the light of what's happening and reputation Jack Sugden's getting for himself...
Mrs. Gibbons is not a child, Mr. Brewer.
I've got to think of my house.
Yes,
I
of
took
course.
her on as a favour to you. She ought to be grateful and think of me a bit. Not asking much after all, is it?
You are satisfied with her work?
Well, I'm not complaining. We didn't sell all them rolls she put up, but I don't hold that against her. And they might go tonight.
What exactly is it that you're asking me to do?
She's in your charge, like. If you were to drop a word or two, well, about jeopardising her future.
You mean you're prepared to sack her?
You can't be too careful in licensed premises, and I've always kept mine very respectable.
Yes, I take your point. All right. I can't say I like doing it, but I'll have a word with her. Her position is difficult.
Of course, it might be better if you had a word with Jack Sugden. After all, he's causing trouble, isn't he?
I think I'd better trim this one. Going to stick in your hair. Very painful coming off.
Very thoughtful. Can we have the tea now?
In a minute, just let me do this.
Tea will be stewed.
No, it won't. Tea's drunk far too quickly anyway. It's got to have time to infuse properly.
4 minutes? That's been... Oh!
I've no sympathy. You should be patient.
I've not had much choice.
There. Now for the tea. Oh, these are really pretty dreadful.
Poor things, but all I've got.
You're completely disorganised.
They say the rum reflects the user.
Well, it's hardly a compliment to you if it's true.
You're a lass and a half, aren't you? Don't pull your punches.
Do you pull yours?
Sometimes, yes. Never see the point in hurting people unnecessarily.
Neither do I. I'm sorry if I hurt you.
It's all right.
Are you going to do anything about this place?
Eventually, yes. I'm in the middle of something at the moment. I'm one of those unfortunates who can only concentrate on one thing at a time.
A new book?
Just something I want to get out of my system.
Well, how do you manage here? I mean, who looks after you?
Nobody. I had a sort of man, but he got drunk and fell out the window.
Oh, yes. Heard about that.
He deserved better, but... That's how the cookie crumbles.
And now?
You're going to offer to mother me?
Well, you can't go on like this, can you?
Have you always been a barmaid?
I've been married.
And what did he do, your husband?
I'll come in and tidy up for you, if you like.
Where would that lead us?
Does it matter?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, wait, Laura, it's all right.
What is?
I just came to see to Mr. Sugden's face.
Mrs. Gibbons works at the Woolpack. Mrs. Verney.
Oh, well, I'd better be getting back to work.
Thank you.
It's not just tact. I did leave the clearing up to do. If you don't go to a doctor, at least you should rest for a couple of days. Goodbye, Mrs. Verney.
Feel very bad?
I'm not enjoying it, but I don't think it's anything serious.
George told me to come and see you.
That was thoughtful of him. Did he give you a first aid box as well?
He said if you hadn't been to a doctor, take you to one.
You know, there's something very English about all this. Don't see why I should be surprised, though. After all, your Georgie is as near the epitome of the old-fashioned English gent as ever was.
Well, as you appear to be all right, there's no point in my staying.
Oh, don't be daft. What's going to happen to you? What you going to do?
I don't know, but I don't think it concerns you.
When I left you in London...
We're not in London now, and you appear to have other interests.
I didn't invite that woman. She came up to see if she could be of any help. From the gossip she'd heard in the pub, she had the impression that George had murdered me.
She'd hardly come here if she didn't know you pretty well.
Look, I haven't exchanged more than
Jack.
Oh!
Oh, darling.
Oh.
Any sign of him?
Not yet.
Should have known something like this would happen. You can't play fast and loose with men's wives without trouble. You'd think he'd have sense enough to know that too.
They're here. I'll go get me coat.
No, Peggy, wait. Oh, we can't all go traipsing over there.
Well, I won't be going.
Found him up by Old Barn.
Lucky too. Or on my way over to Jameson's.
Well, will you drive me over to Old Mill, see what's up with Jack? Hurry up, Peggy, if you're coming. If Henry Wilkes comes, tell him where we are.
Ah, he'll be interested.
And this is his gift for Frank and Janie. I'll put it on the table and you won't forget it.
Right.
Come on.
Well, you drive him and I'll wait here.
Don't you want to see him?
It won't help being too many. You're all more family.
Yeah, well, I can't believe it's anything anyway. And if it is, it must be Vernie who's hurt.
Trouble with you, don't know your own brother.
Yeah.
Bit stuck now for something to do.
Do nowt. Won't hurt you for once.
Wilkes has really got the bit between his teeth over these pigs. Backfield's got more pegs in it than lying on washing day.
He'll never make it go. No one's ever made a go of pigs in Dales.
You mean you went to our house?
George asked me to go. But it was nothing to do with this.
Well, what was it about then?
He wanted me to take you away with me on the grounds that A, you wouldn't have to go getting a job to keep alive, and B, you'd soon get fed up with me and go back to him. It's extraordinary the lengths a man will go to hang on to a woman.
Looks like he's got visitors. You know whose car that is, don't you?
I do. I've seen her in it in the village. You best stay here. I'll see how things are first.
Give me a cigarette, will you?
Yes, of course. I suppose the truth is, I feel sorry for him.
Well, that's a good start. I'm not sure to what.
Don't try and be funny, Jack, please.
Sorry.
He seems to have had such a wasted life. Of course, that doesn't make me feel any fonder. Shall I go and see who that is?
I don't think I could make it to the door. I keep getting the shivers.
You must see a doctor.
Don't worry, I'll survive. Would you mind?
Oh, no, of course.
I'd like to see him. I think he's upstairs lying down. I'll go look then. Yes, do. Jack?
Hello, Ma.
You seen a doctor? Has he?
No, I told him he ought to.
My son Joe's down below at Land Rover. Tell him to go and get Dr. Grant and be quick about it.
Yes, but
he's got bad delayed shock. You see that? You get down on the blankets and keep warm. I'll make you some nice tea.
With beer, that's 24. Well, that's last of them gone.
What?
Them rows are yours.
Oh, good.
Lucky them reporters turned up, else we'd have been stuck with them.
Oh,
so?
Well, who else would have bought them?
They're a service.
Well, what's the good of that if you can't sell them?
Until customers know you have them. Yes.
Sorry.
Enjoying view, Amos?
Hmm? Oh, what can I do for you?
Pint? 2 pints.
Had reporters up farm, have you?
Like to know what kind of story they've had from you.
Nout. I said nout. Don't want my house connected with brawls.
A funny idea you've got of brawls. From what I hear, truth is, Jack just stood there and took it.
Ah, and they'd like to know why.
Been asking you then?
Well, I can't stop them doing that, can I? But I know when to keep my mouth shut.
You reckon you know why then?
Well, I know what's being said. Not that I believe it, mind. Matter of fact, I've gone out of my way to tell them at thinking that they're barking up wrong tree.
Oh, and what do you reckon is right tree?
Well, to be honest, I don't know. But it's naught to do with Mrs. Verney. I got that from... Well, I've been told that in confidence. 28.
What's he on about?
It seems like somebody's told him so much.
Ah, but what? Wouldn't betray a confidence, would you, Amos?
Oh, you can rely on me. I told one of them that if they print anything in papers about Jack and Verney's missus, they'll be had for libel, because it's all lies. That scared them.
Can you make it out?
Well, didn't Jack say anything to you when you saw him?
I wouldn't let us near him. Dr. Grant said he had to have rest and quiet, and she's seeing he gets it.
She's a right hen with her brood. Likes him under her wing.
How's your brother?
Well, the doctor's been at him. Just got to have rest and quiet.
He saw sense then. That's good.
How do you mean?
Well, I told him to see a doctor, but of course he wasn't very keen.
Yeah, saw him after it happened?
Not immediately. When I heard he might be bad, I went up to have a look at him. See if he was all right.
You went up to Old Mill?
Cleaned his face and tidied him up. But I'm glad he saw a doctor.
He cops him, don't he? Marion all over him. And Mrs. Verney now her. How does he do it?
Mrs. Verney's just a rumour.
That woman he had at Feathers as well. Oh, they get round him like moths.
Ah, well, your turn will come, don't worry.
Hey, see that girl over there?
Hey, I wouldn't mind getting to know her.
You'll likely get chance. She's asking wait at Old Mill.